Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Headstrong Podcast. I'm your host, Danielle Mills, and today is a very, very special day because it's a big first in the world of the Headstrong Podcast because today we have three very distinguished gentlemen on today. And not only are these three men master sergeants in the Air Force, they've all been serving since 2001, and they currently lead very, very, very large teams of people. They manage big projects. They know all about leadership, and it is an honor and privilege to have Frank Wilson III, Keith Frett, and Trevor Hudson on the Headstrong Podcast. So welcome, guys.
Hey, thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
It is truly an honor to be on here in greatness and company of greatness.
So I have to say, tell us, I don't know who wants to own this one, but tell us a little bit about yourself and how you guys all met.
Want to start?
Well, you know what? The military it's a crock pot of people. They take people from all different backgrounds and they kind of throw you together. And it's odd because once you get through basic training and you get through tech school, they put us all at Travis Air Force Base. And there's no rules to this. They just say, hey, you're here, and you just kind of meet and you mingle. And me being from Miami and Frank being from Alabama and Keith being from a multitude of places, which we won't even get into the many places that Keith can be from.
Where he claims he's from.
Yeah, I mean, the list goes on and on. They
enough.
just kind of threw us in a melting pot, and amazingly enough, we kind of just collaborated. And these friendships that you build, coincidentally enough, they just stick, they bond. And 20 years later, we are still hanging out and still acting the same. We are still fools. We just a little bit older. The knees don't kind of do the same things they used to, but we still here.
Yeah, we were young fools. Now we old fools.
That's all it is.
Pretty much.
All it is.
So I have to ask, you guys have your own podcast, the Don't Sleep on the Couch podcast. How did that kind of come to fruition? Who started that and where did that come from?
Well, we have a group chat. Again, this isn't just us on a DSE podcast. We're backed by several friends that we've known for quite some time, same amount of time we've known each other. So basically, it was a thought about 5 years ago that finally came to fruition about a year and a half ago. And it started out with me and Frank kind of starting to talk about music. And then we were like, hey, we need a third person. And HUD is here, Mr. Personality. We definitely need him. So he going to smile. I'll never say that again. But definitely that man has a gift for gab. So we wanted to incorporate some other things as well as music that we were talking about. So that's kind of how it was birthed.
Danielle, whatever you do, please make sure you don't edit that part that he just said that they needed HUD and that I was brought in. Just please be mad to make sure we keep that.
Don't worry, we'll keep all that in there, here for you guys. Well, I have to say, just kind of getting to know you guys a little bit better, reading up about you and seeing what you've all done, it's really true that you guys have really shown a lot of leadership skills and the ability to lead large groups of people. Where did this really stem from? Did you guys learn these skill sets when you got into the military, or would you say that a lot of this came from even before you guys got in that environment?
So go ahead, you take it, Frank.
Oh yeah, I started off. As for me, I would say it started a little bit before I came in. I was part of the student council, high school and everything, came in straight out of high school. While I was a leader during that time frame, I realized I was lacking in portions of my leadership. I didn't have good follower-ship. So I started gaining those. Military humbled me real quick on my role in the military. And then as you get older and just grow into it, and the responsibility is given more and more to you, you learn to adapt. You come across some good leaders, you come across some not so good leaders. You take the good from both of those, and you try to mix that up and make it into your own and come out on top on that portion.
Definitely. Anything you guys want to add?
Yeah, for me, it started out, I had two major male figures in my life, and that was my grandfather, Leroy Scott, and my father. So I kind of learned and watched from them how to, kind of conduct yourself as a man and the head of the household. So that started me in the beginning, but over time in the military, I got to give the military a lot of credit for it because I was thrown in positions that at certain times I don't think I was ready for, but it was deemed necessary for me to get the job done. So from there, you just kind of learn to lead because you don't want to let the mission fail or the people that are under you fail as well.
Definitely.
You know, similar to, believe it or not, similar to the Frank, I was actually the class president when I was in high school, and my kids didn't believe me until I had to take them to my high school and show them the picture on the wall. Like, they were, no way, Dad, this, come on. So being in a leadership role was something that I've always kind of been in. Then when I got into the military, I think I tried to do everything I could to not be in a leadership role. I just wanted to have fun. I just wanted to kind of do my thing, but it was just something that I kind of gravitated towards. And whether I was deemed a leader by my rank, I was kind of leading by my personality. So it was something I was attracted to, and then kind of built on from the military, giving me skill sets and tools, and like I want to say Cash so bad.
Okay.
Like how Keith mentioned, you just kind of, you get thrown in those situations, you have to kind of build from it.
No, definitely. Kind of just to expound on that a little bit more, you know, like, what does leadership mean to you guys? Because I know so many of the people listening on here want to be leaders one day, or they may be in a leadership role, but they're not truly doing what is necessary to lead at a higher level. And you all have done that. So like, for you, each of you, you know, like, what does leadership mean to you, and how do you lead at a higher level? What advice would you give our listeners?
I probably would say that you first have to be a great follower. You got to learn the inside steps, the inside track to everything that you do at a lower level when you're given certain jobs. So you can't learn to be a leader without learning how to do the little things before you're thrust into certain leadership positions. So I would say appreciate the jobs that you're currently doing right now, because it's preparing you for something greater later on when you are thrust upon leadership and roles that you don't even think that you can handle. But just know that, you know, those little steps that you took to get there are building blocks to get you to ultimately where you need to be. And also, like Frank said earlier, you know, you have people that you follow as well coming up. So you want to emulate the good people, and you also want to learn from the bad leaders that you have and kind of mold yourself into something that you would like to see and somebody else following you one day.
Definitely.
So I would say, add on to that, for leadership, you can't be afraid of failure. You definitely can't be afraid of failure. Go out there, go lead the way that you think is the proper way. It may come back that you have to adjust halfway through. But overall, you just want to make sure you're doing more good for your people, good for whatever the cause that you're going for, than at fault. You got to think about it. I always think like Jordan, like, he went to the finals plenty of times, you know, he won, but all they remember is the championships. People rarely remember the losses at that point. So it's just like, when you're being a leader, just remember how you want to be remembered at the end, and keep that pushing and keep striving for those goals. And don't worry about when you have a misstep or anything like that. Just keep it moving forward.
You know, when it comes down to leadership, one thing I look at it as, somebody told me a long time ago, you can do whatever you want to do. You want to be a leader. You want to be the leader that's wild and crazy, you can go for it. You want to be the leader that fails and messes up, you go for it. You want to be the leader that sticks by the book, you go for it. You can do it any way you choose to do it, but whatever way you choose to do it, you're going to have to stick with that. You're going to have to ride with that, and understand that there's going to be ups and downs to it. Every decision you make is not going to be the best decision. But it's not about a decision you make that's wrong. It's about what you do after that decision is made. It's about how you connect with your people, and it's about what you're trying to get done and what you're trying to get accomplished. You know, Keith made a great point. You're going to meet good leaders. You're going to meet bad leaders. My mother used to always tell me, man, you got to take the meat and spit out the bone. Everybody's going to give you some good parts. And some people are going to give you good parts that you don't want. You're going to see somebody say, you know what, I don't want to be anything like that person. That's the meat that you got to get from that situation. Leadership is a very unique situation that you got to put your own spin on it. I can't lead the same way Colin Powell leads, because me and him are not cut from the same cloth. So for me to try to emulate what somebody else does is a disservice to myself. I got to lead the way Trevor leads, and I got to make my style my style. So whatever, to all the listeners out there, whatever style you have to own that style, and understand that just because it is your style doesn't mean you're not going to have to tweak it. You're not going to have to change it. You're going to always have to adjust and be ready to make those adjustments to make you a more effective leader.
Wow, such great points from all of you. I know the listeners are getting so many good gems from this conversation. This next question is going to take you guys back to a deep time. So let everybody get your thoughts in order. So I want to know, and I know the listeners want to know, about a time where each of you had to deal with some type of adversity in your lives, whether it be in your career or some point in your life, and how your mindset helped you guys get through it. So I kind of want to hear that. So whoever wants to go first there.
Well, I got two things, fellas, and I think you guys kind of know what I'm going to touch on. So the first thing that I experienced very young is that I had twin girls, and I experienced death, of one of my girls very early. And that was like one of the most difficult things that you can probably put on, I was 21 at the time, or about to be 21 when that happened. So I kind of relied on my friends that were around me, and definitely the military as a support system. I didn't have to go to work. I didn't have to do a lot of things. All I had to do was be by my baby girl's side and kind of work through that. And also I was able to get an assignment very soon after that, near my baby girl, after her mom kind of left that state and that base because of all the things that occurred. So we were able to get through that as a family. And, it definitely took a village for me to get through that. Now, on the flip side, there were some things that I did to kind of make my situation kind of worse, which was about 10 years ago. I was in Korea, and probably one of the dumbest things I could have ever done was steal money from the military. And that's something that I'm still ashamed of till this day. You know what I mean? So I was going through a really bad divorce, and nobody really knew about it. And at the time, I didn't want to tell anybody about it. And without making this a super long story, I basically, without telling anybody, I kind of wasn't able to pay bills for a certain amount of time. And as a result, I lied until I got caught. So I get caught, and then now I'm in a orange vest picking up trash around base. I damn near get my rank taken away from me. I also am on 60 days of restriction. I also go to my next assignment with that stink on me, as far as, just being in trouble and having a watchful eye over me. And all I could think is that, if I would have just told my leadership things were going on, if I just would have humbled myself to not be embarrassed with what I was going through, because I'm not the first person that was going through a divorce. I'm not the first person to ever be down to my last. So I should have told the truth right away. And I had to own that. I owned that very early on. I lied. I did it. I went around that base and did what I had to do as far as being seen in an orange vest. It was super embarrassing. I relied on my faith. I relied on my friends, and I relied on the fact that you have to own what you did, and you have to make atonement for it by working your ass off even harder than it took, before you get here, to earn a lot of people's respect back. So that was a trying time. But ever since then, I haven't looked back and never been in trouble again. Made several ranks and got degrees, and I kind of got back on and got focused on what really mattered. And that's what I came in to do, which was to get my college degree, which was to make a better way for my family.
No, before anybody else goes, I just want to commend you for being so courageous and honest about that and putting that out there, because so many of the listeners on here have made mistakes or things have happened. And just to show that you can get past that and move on, I really appreciate you sharing that. So thank you.
Not a problem.
You want to go first? You want me to go? It's up to you.
Yeah, you can go first, and I'll go.
When you say going through things, it rains in just about every state. And to me, rain is something that happens every time, and it's going to always happen. So when I think about my career, adversity is me as rain, and it's rained a lot. So I've had things from paperwork through getting in trouble, through financial times. So I remember there was a time I had twins, and we had 30 cents in my bank account. And I'm like, man, we got to do something better. So adversity is something, failure is something. Adversity is something that I believe I've learned how to embrace. I've learned how to kind of deal with broad shoulders and say, hey, this is where I'm at. This is what I got going through. And there's times where it gets down. I try to motivate people. That's something I'm trying to get into, motivational speaking. But don't get it mistaken. As the motivational guy, don't think that I don't have bad days. We go through them. I go through them just like everybody else. I'm just as human as you are. But I've gotten to the point in my life to where you try to find other ways to guide yourself through those rainy days. I got my rain gear just like everybody else. I've gone through times where I didn't make testing for promotion, like we talked about on the other previous part. Listen, 8 times for a rank in our world for testing, it's very big when you're trying to make promotion. And that's the part that you have to go through. To not get that achievement time and time and time again, the level of embarrassment is through the roof. I remember there was a time, you talk about the connection between me and these gentlemen. I was in Idaho and me and Keith was on the phone after we just didn't make tech sergeant for one time, talking about, hey, what are we going to do, man? We got to figure this out. And it was upsetting, but I was kind of felt good because I didn't make it and he didn't make it. So at least I had somebody. And then the next year, this jive turkey made it and I was happy for him, but I hated him at the same time because I'm like, well, what happened to my brother in misery? You know, then I was all alone, you know. But at the same time, you know, you meet those roadblocks and you have to overcome those roadblocks. So as you come through these pieces of adversity, man, I can give you stories for days. But the biggest thing is, just like rain happens in every city, what happens with rain? Eventually, it has to stop raining. And every time it stops raining, guess what happens? The sun does come back out. So when you're going through those hard times and you have that adversity, just remember that one day that rain is going to stop. You will put the umbrella away and get ready for the sun and just get ready to have fun when the sun does come out.
Love that. Love that.
So I start off mine by just saying, like, with the military lifestyle, we know like why everybody don't sign up for it and everything. It's you got to be gone away from your family sometimes, and you're going to be gone for long periods of time. So my piece of adversity was I was in Central America. Family was still here in Germany, and I'm out there for a year, and family's not going through well. Wife sitting at home, 2 kids, going through it. Stuff ain't working out for her at the time and everything. So I'm talking to her from, you know, all the way across, halfway across the world, and I can't roll over there. I can't tell her everything's gonna be okay. I can't really like help her out. So what I did end up doing was going out there, sending it to my parents back in the States. They helped out for a little while, but you know, still not being able to leave and come there and be a part of that. Like, but you know, I think throughout that time though, she got to go home, meet my parents. She became a lot closer with my family members and stuff after that. So some good things really happened after that. I think we grew stronger a lot after that whole situation because she understood a lot where I came from after that point, you know, staying there for a minute and everything. So, but it still made me feel nonetheless just horrible, just being that far away and not being able to do anything. Like you're just out there.
No, definitely. Wow. It's amazing how each one of your instances that you guys picked were so different from one another, but they all have a same stem to it, which is, you know, not being able to do something and kind of going through that. But I have to say, like, it's pretty impactful hearing from all of you and just kind of how you were able to use your mindset to kind of get through these situations. What I want to talk about now is your confidence, because something that I recognized when I had the opportunity to be on your podcast, which was awesome. If you guys are listening, please subscribe to their podcast. It's phenomenal. Don't Sleep on the Couch podcast, DSC. And
DSC.
Yes, I would be wearing my shirt. I would be wearing my shirt, but I did wear it yesterday and it's dirty. But I will send you guys a photo of me in the shirt because it's a really good shirt. But I want to ask, you guys are also confident and poised. You know, where does this confidence come from? Who instilled this confidence in you? And kind of talk about where that comes from, because a lot of listeners on here struggle with confidence issues. They struggle with that. And kind of like, what advice would you give them in addition to where does your confidence come from?
Let me start this one now.
Okay.
So first off, amongst our friends, amongst like all of our, what is like 7 of us, 8 of us now?
Yeah, in the group. Yep.
Yeah, it's in a group. You got to be confident just to be around these people, man, because like we all like they're successful at a certain little point. So you got to be able to stand amongst these people and just like hold your own. So I feel like you definitely got to have that portion in you. And then being in the military definitely helps. Like, you know, you got to have that. Whatever decision you're going to come out and make, you got to be strong with it. You got to know what you're talking about if you want people to follow you. So whatever whatever decisions you coming out and you're making, you got to say it with some authority. You got to come behind it. You got to stand behind those words. People can smell weakness, and that will have them falling behind or going away from your type of leadership real quick.
Go ahead, Keith. I'll let you go ahead. I'll go last.
I like to say mine's isn't a boastful confidence. It's just a quiet confidence. I just feel like there's nothing that I cannot do when I put my mind to it. Like if I want to do it, if we want to start a podcast, we're going to start a podcast. If I want to go get this degree, I'm going to do that. If I want to get a certification, I'm going to go get a certification, and there's nothing going to stop me from doing that. And you can lead that to a whole bunch of different things. Like it just doesn't matter to me. Like whatever's put ahead of me, I'm gonna tackle head on. I've, like the boys said earlier, you fail so much, like you get used to it, because I think our failures are way more than our successes. So, you learn to deal so much with failure that you're not afraid of it. Like Frank said earlier about Jordan. Like how many times has Jordan actually missed those key game-winning shots? You know what I mean? But you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So I feel like, I have to have the confidence, have to be a student of the game and whatever job that I'm assigned at the time and figure it out. You know what I mean? And I have to have that confidence, and I have to have that believability and that cachet when I walk in the room, especially if I'm leading other people to do right. You know what I mean? People are not going to follow me if I'm weak-minded or if I'm not paying attention to what's going on regarding different things that we're working on. So, and people can smell that. And I never want to be one of those people that people can't trust and people can't follow.
And let me jump in. That's exactly what I was talking about. That first little portion where he was talking about, just like whatever he say he going to end up doing, he don't believe he can fail at anything. That's the type of attitude I'm talking about these guys bring to you. You can mention something just lightly, like I'm halfway thinking about doing this, and they're going to be like, nah, do it. Let's go. And they're gonna hold you to it
and stay on you about it.
Yeah,
stay on you about it. Check up. We don't forget. You said you was gonna go back to school. Well, Frank, get your ass in school. Sorry for cussing, but that's how we talk to each other. Iron sharpen iron around there with the boys that we situate ourselves with. So you can't be coming into the group and you're essentially the company you keep. You know what I mean? So if you look around and you met the rest of our boys, they're as accomplished, they're as smart or smarter than us, and I just like to feel like I'm in good company when I'm around these fellas.
Both of you gave great answers, and I felt like, I sat here and I said, what can I say to just really answer this? And the first thing comes to mind, I woke up like this, okay? I need
we knew that was coming.
Okay, Tiante.
You woke up like this.
Listen, this is God given. You understand me? As far as confidence, I have a firm belief. I am not afraid of the word no. I'm going to ask whatever question. People have always, Hud, how did you get front row tickets to the Kings game? How did you get this? Because I asked the question. Why did you ask? Because I wanted to know. Because I'm not afraid of what somebody's going to tell me. Because at the end of the day, if I don't love me some me, who else going to do it? And you got to have that kind of self-confidence. You have got to understand what somebody else eat don't make you shit. So I can't worry about what somebody else is doing. I have got to embrace myself. And like he said, when you hang around other people who are doing things, listen, Cash got a master's. I had to go get a master's. You had these other things going on. You got to put yourself around good people. I said it on a post I put out not too long ago. You will never find an eagle flying with pigeons. So you got to make sure you get around people who making you do great things. So if you hang around weak people, you're going to be weak. So if you hang around people because, I'm the smartest person in that group, that makes me feel good. You a fool. You better find somebody who's doing something else. Everybody in this world is better than you at something. And that's facts. Somebody is better than you at something. Well, you know what? I'm going to make sure in my group I can find something that I'm better than them at. There has to be something. And if you can't find that something, then you got to make yourself better. So these dudes that I'm around, they push me to be better. And that's why I'm better than all of them right now. And that's just the way I feel. And they're not going to convince me of anything else. Boom. See that mic? Just drop it.
Yes, man.
He couldn't resist it.
I love that you guys brought up the importance of being around people that uplift you and inspire you and push you to do more. because there's so many of the listeners on here who haven't realized that yet. And they're still surrounding themselves with people who are bringing them down or doubting them or negative. So I have to ask you guys, this is off the cuff. Have you, you said there's like 7 or 8 of you that are in this group that you guys feed off of each other. Did you guys ever have somebody who was in there, but by way of their behavior got kind of pushed out the group because they weren't on the same wavelength as you guys? Or would you say that everybody around has always been kind of like what you guys just described?
I would say everybody got on the boat. Like we got on the boat real quick. Like, so we started realizing like these are the group of people we want to hang out with. And I would say everybody has continued like to step up no matter where we going. Somebody coming up, doing something new, talk about it within the group. Everybody's trying to learn it and get on board or find something in a different avenue where they can just up the next game. So with our crew, I definitely see that happen.
And I think where it comes and I don't think it's a point of putting someone out. I think it becomes, everybody has a specialty, like superheroes. So for example, if I got a question on real estate, I'm gonna ask Fran. I may not ask Fran about anything else, but if it comes down to real estate, I'm gonna come to him on that. If it's come to something about regimented, I'm gonna ask Tate. If it comes to something about production, I'm gonna ask Keith. If it comes to computers, I'm gonna ask Kramati, because everybody has their special thing that they do that they're going to be good at when it comes down to different things. But collectively, it just makes like a league of extraordinary gentlemen. So that's what it kind of comes down to. So,
awesome.
You don't necessarily have to put somebody out. You just have to say, what are you bringing to the cookout? Because if they can't bring something to the cookout, then I don't need you coming. This ain't no free potluck. You can't bring plates and napkins around here.
I love that. So let's talk about something a little bit lighter. I want to know, what adjustments have y'all had to make since moving to Germany? Like, what's that like?
Walmart and Target, you know what I mean?
No, elaborate. The
Accessibility.
listeners don't understand. I had the opportunity to travel the world, but let's break it down. What's been a big adjustment?
I just think it's accessibility to be able to get whatever you want when you want to get it. I mean, the whole country shuts down on Sundays for the most part, So they value their Sundays and their family time together. And, you'll find very few stores open on Sundays, but, you kind of get used to it. I've lived over here several years now. We all have at this point. So you kind of get used to that way of life. So I don't think we miss too much outside of the convenience and accessibility of certain things that we want to get to. But yeah, I'm not really missing too much, to be honest with you, except for family and accessibility.
Yeah.
We have Amazon Primal. You know what an Amazon Primal is? We don't get it the next day. It's like a couple days, so we don't have Amazon Prime like you do. We got Amazon Primal. So, I mean, you get certain different things. He mentioned accessibility. Another big adjustment is, of course, the language barrier and dealing with people who speak English, but they pretend like they don't speak English, because they do speak English, or they say, my English is not very good. And to be honest with you, a lot of Germans speak better English than I do, because, my English is not always the best. So that adjustment, and then kind of getting used to some of the customs and courtesies, like you mentioned before. When you go to a restaurant here, the waitress is not going to keep coming to your table saying, do you need anything? They're going to leave you alone and let you enjoy the restaurant and your company, and they're not going to come back until you call them. So when you first come over here, you think it's like, oh, they don't want to give me service. No, that's not the case. It's just more, when you go, they want you to have that experience. So getting used to some of those different things is kind of your biggest adjustment. But it's more positive things to me, honestly, over here than it is more so negative, because the Sunday thing was difficult, but then I learned to enjoy Sunday, because it actually gave me a time to kind of let my hair down and relax before I got into a new week. Travel over here is amazing, to kind of get out and go see some things. And then you realize how much history we don't have in the States. Going to Italy, I don't know who designed all these magnificent buildings and all this other stuff, but the architecture it's phenomenal. You try the different foods. No disrespect, but I don't think I may not ever go to the Olive Garden ever again. I've been bamboozled for years. I mean, so it's just some of the things you just get a chance to see. It's just do over here, and to show my kids these things. When I was growing up, to go to the Roman Coliseum was only way we was gonna see it is if we went to, like, I think it was like page 159 on the history book, That was the only way you was going back when I was in school in Miami. That's the only way you was going to the Coliseum. But now, for my 13-year-old, when he turned 13, we actually went to the Coliseum. So those type of experiences, they're priceless, man. To share those experiences that I would have never got an opportunity to do had we not ventured over here to Europe.
Yeah. So I've been over here the longest, I think. I started, and I started telling everybody about coming over here. So like everybody that made their little stints while they was over here with the crew, like, and came and visited and everything, or some of them been stationed out here. But I got used to it real quick since I've been out here. Like the Sunday thing, I only must think I warned them about that before they got out here, because it's just part of life. And like he's saying, it's very relaxing at this point. Like you don't, it's no agenda to do anything on a Sunday. So you truly take it as a rest day, because ain't no stores open. So where you going to go? You can't cut your grass and nothing like that, because they have quiet hours. So, hey, just sit back, chill, enjoy your family, go for a walk, take the time to really like enjoy your company with the people. Call up your friends, call up your family back home and everything. The big setback though would definitely be just, you don't have your family around here. Like that's hard. And then it's been points in times of me being over here where I didn't have none of these guys over here with me. And those are some hard times on its own. Like, cause you lose your family, that's one thing. So you kind of left home at 18. So you're kind of getting used to that, but then you done had your core friends with you the whole time. And then when they leave and you like, oh man, I ain't got nobody. Who do I talk to? I'm having a hard time. Anything like this is just, that part can be extremely difficult. You don't want to keep rebuilding every couple of years your whole core friendship or the people around you at that point. So, yeah.
Right. Wow. So this one's kind of a cool one. So if there's one thing that you miss the most about America, what would it be? And if you did move back to America, what would be the one thing that you miss the most about either Germany or Europe? Just one thing.
I'd probably say sports. It has to be sports. Yeah, it has to be the ability to just go to a stadium or watch sports at a decent hour. Like,
yeah,
I love the NBA. Yeah, I love the NBA. But man, them games are on at 2-3 in the morning, and just watching it in the moment, and watching Twitter, and if there's like a league pass update and somebody's going off, I'm dead to the world most nights, so that's what I miss the most is, possibly having season tickets when I get back, moving closer to a metropolitan area where they have every single sport I can think of, that's kind of what I miss the most. But when I do leave, what I'm going to miss is the ability to be like, yeah, I'm going to Mallorca next weekend. I'm going to Greece. You know what? I'm going to double back to Portugal. Like we have these conversations. Yeah, we have these conversations, and we were just talking about it the other day as if this is normal. This isn't normal.
Yeah.
Like
that's the posh life. You guys are living the good life.
Right. We're in I remember my wife and I, we were in Barcelona, and we just like had a beautiful view, and we just was looking out at the view like, damn, like we're here. Like we really couldn't believe it. And we've had that feeling several places we've gone where it's just like, we're never going to get this again. And we have to make an effort to come back when we eventually do end up going back to the States.
Definitely.
I definitely think literally, I don't know if there's a better answer than what he just said. Like literally, that's why I put the U up. Like you miss sports. I miss watching my Hurricanes. I miss watching things at a regular hour because you have to stay up to like if I stay up to watch a game, I got to pay for it the next day to go to work and to get up to watch that game. And like you mentioned, the travel when you go back. Like me and my wife have arguments like, I don't want to go to Positano's Italy. I want to go to Greece. Well, fine, let's go to Africa this time. Well, we went to Africa last week. Like literally, these are the conversations that you're having, and then you try to call somebody. You call one of those common people from America, and you try to explain to them the debate, and they're like, "Really? If you don't get off my phone right now." If you talking about Africa, we just barely went to Fort Lauderdale. Like nobody wants to hear your argument. So those are the type things you definitely going to miss. And honestly, another part of it is one thing that I love about Germany and over here, like Oktoberfest, the festivals, the Christmas markets, the way they kind of get out and really, if you're getting serious, the way you're treated, man, over here, I'm just treated as an American, man. I don't have a lot of the stresses. I had very few incidents where I said, man, I'm being treated oddly. But for the majority over here, I'm not African American. I'm not the big black. I'm just an American over here, and I just have a good time. I don't have to deal with a lot of the headaches. I've been pulled over once in 4 years, and it was like, hey, have you been drinking? I said, no. They said, okay, have a nice day. And that was the end of it. So it's just a whole different vibe in that sense. And then the safety for my children, for schools, like I don't have to worry about a lot of the stuff being over here. So being that I'm about to move back to the States, I'm more worried about COVID and some of these other different things going back to America than I am worried about over here, So that will probably be my biggest concerns.
For me, what I miss most of all is just family. Like I said, I've been over here the longest out of everybody. So like I missed a lot of time with my family, a lot of time. So definitely can't make that up, but like I can go enjoy them at this time as soon as I get back to the States. So and then sports of course. Like we all big on sports, and like football is like the main thing. And I'm sitting up there. You got a Monday night football game. The Monday night football game go up right up until the time that you got to show up to work. So like you just stayed up all night, and then you just keep it going. You're gonna crash when you get home. So and then the thing I would miss for Germany I would have to say driving. Going on the Autobahn, the rules of the road. It's not really not the faster part, because like it's just how safe it is, like at those speeds that they're going, because they have these strict rules about like, hey, you can't be driving in the fast lane if you ain't passed and nothing like this. You got to scoot it back over, and everybody abides by it. So these trips and stuff, like whenever you're driving anywhere, it's just a smooth trip, and you would actually enjoy the drive on all these trips most of the time. So.
Wow. No, this is so exciting. I got one more question about Europe. What is the biggest misconception about Europe and living in Europe? For those that are listening who've never been to Europe, don't even have a passport, which they need to get, and just so that people know about that stuff. I think it's cool if you guys could share that.
It is simply the language barrier. You can go anywhere in Europe and they speak English for the most part, or you can find an English speaking person, or you can appear to be that dumb American, look around, and somebody's going to help you out and you're going to figure it out. Like, you cannot be afraid to travel out here because it's so easy to get around. Almost everything is in English, or you're going to get an English version of a map when you actually get somewhere. So that's the common misconception. Like, it hasn't been a country that I've been to that I couldn't speak English and make my way around or figure things out.
I think another misconception that Frank just mentioned is the Autobahn. There are points where you can go as fast as you can, but that is not the entire Autobahn. There is speed limits, and listen, the flash game is real. You get tickets. They will flash you, and that ticket will come in the mail real quickly. Stealth bomber. Like, next thing you know, you got a 95-euro ticket. But when you can go that fast, it is fun, but it's not all just as fast as you can.
I just think people just take for granted just like how much like culture and everything is over here. So when you come over here, just like all these, you ain't got to go to the big cities. You can go to these small towns and they have just as much culture, and they have some of the best festivals and stuff like that up in those small towns, bigger than some of the what's the one in Munich that they have, Oktoberfest. Like that'd be better than that. You'll have a better time at one of those smaller festivals. So and that's throughout Europe. They have these things. And then like you said about Rome is like one of the most beautiful like cities I'd have been to. I mean, ice cream, I can't think of it the same no more because the Italian gelato.
Real.
Yeah, it's
we've been lied to.
Fellas, I was also gonna say, like, I haven't felt like a kid again during the holidays. But when them Christmas markets open back up, boy, I just be festive in a mug, man. Like, it's just one of those things that it just, man, everywhere you go, every country you go, every little German village, like, they do it to the T. They overdo it. They overdo it. Christmas. And if you have family come over and visit, you can see the people's mood shift. They're happy to see you, but they're also happy to come to the Christmas markets and pick up the trinkets and just, have the glue wine, hot wine and lick it up while you're walking around in the cold. It's a good time. It's a really good time. And now that my kids are getting a little bit older, like it's great to see their faces light up when they see all the lights and they're walking around.
Well, I definitely feel like, based on what you guys just said, I think you guys will take a lot of that with you when you eventually come back to the United States and try to recreate some of that festivities back home, because that just made me really excited about the holidays. I'm like, what am I doing? Am I going to get a tree? Like, I need to do better. I'm in a condo, so like I'm always like, but I'm going to do it bigger this year, because that just made me super excited. But I want to ask you guys a couple more questions. What is next for you? What does the next 2 to 4 years look like for you guys as a unit and individually?
Well, you learn in the military that it's always good to have a plan, but be prepared for plan B, C, D, and so on and so forth. So, for me, it kind of depends on, right now I'm really passionate about what we're doing as far as this podcast. I feel like we can make a lot of strides to where we can retire and be YouTubers. Yes, I said it. I feel like we really can do that. And why not retire and do the things that we love? We're all financially stable. So that's one of the things. Also, part of me wants to do some of the things that I went to school for and see if that corporate life is still something that I want to do. And it just, the possibilities are endless. Or you may opt to stay in because I may be promoted again and I may have to look at how that balances out for my family and I. So those 3 different avenues are those different lanes I can go into. So I don't have all those different plans. It's just a feeling. Like they say, when you've been in this long, you know when it's time. There's some days when I know it's time and I feel like it's time, but some days I enjoy. I don't necessarily enjoy COVID-19 and everything that is done, but as a medic, this has been my Super Bowl as far as work and doing some phenomenal things and watching my troops grow tremendously. Those are the things that bring me joy, as far as like, look at us doing our damn jobs and we're doing it to the best of our capabilities. I love that part of it. But sometimes those times are few and far in between the older and older you get. So, you have your good days and your bad days, but those are some of the things that keep me around. It's mainly being around these 2 guys and also the great people that I work with day in and day out.
So, yeah, I would say like in the next 2 to 4 years, he said totally opposite what I'm gonna say. I'm getting out. I'm done. They got 20 years. That's all they need from me. I'm coming back to the States. I've been over here too long. I want to go I want to be warm all year round. So I'm definitely like planning on going to Florida down that way. I don't know if I'm going to utilize my skills that I have here or that I learned early in my career, or the part I learned, the managerial portion that I learned later in my career. But definitely just want to get out there and just, be around for my family constantly, have some stability in that portion. I've been part of like a mobility unit for a long, long time. So, just the fact that I be at home, like constant, that portion is the part I'm looking out for. And then like the sports, make sure I carry my kids and stuff to sports and stuff like this. So definitely want to get to a spot where I can get season tickets and stuff like that. But 2 to 4 years, yeah, like he's saying, like that's definitely getting out, gonna make that next step. And then hopefully guide them on out the door as I look back and say, because I think that's what a little bit it is. He a little bit of anxiety, like he's scared to come out right now, but hey, it's time, man. It's time to make that next jump.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I just want y'all to know, just remember that I told you this. I'm about to be the most famous motivational speaker in the world. Just putting that out there. Mm-hmm. I'm getting into motivational speaking. I kind of got started. I started my Instagram at Hadrico Live, where I put out stuff daily. I'm kind of getting the ball rolling in that. Within the next year or 2, I should be out of the military. Like Frank, I'll be separating. I do plan on continuing with the Don't Sleep on the Couch podcast, even though I'm probably going to be the first one out of the trifecta who's moving to the States. We're just going to be remotely making it work the best we can to kind of figure that part of it out. So I am venturing into some other things. I've also started doing some life coaching, getting myself going in that realm as well. using the gift that I got. I like to talk. I love to talk. You know, that's my superhero ability. So that's what I would like to do. So those are the things that I'm getting into. Venturing in that realm. Also, I've been coaching sports for a long time, especially football. That's always been a passion of mine. So I still want to kind of venture and get into that aspect of it. But my son is getting into his junior year of high school. He's starting to get a lot of interest as far as colleges and things of that nature. He will be a Miami Hurricane. I'm just going to put that out into the universe as well. So doing those type of things. But as far as for me personally, getting into motivational speaking, life coaching, and coaching football is my 3 things that I'm going into. So if you need some motivation, any listeners, please at Hudrico Live and at DSC_podcast, where you can find me and the crew at all times.
Love that. I love that. I was just about to say, how can we stay connected to you guys? How can people reach out to you if they want to know more or work with you or whatever? So I think it's good that you said that. But if there's anything else you guys want to add as far as how people can connect with you, say it now.
Yeah, you can find us on all platforms. Our website is dscpodcast.com, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, DSC_podcast, Patreon. You can find us on there if you want to support us. If you catch a few episodes, you like what we're doing, you know, this podcasting thing ain't free. I'm sure you can attest to that as well. There's a lot of work behind the scenes that people think that you just come on here and talk, and you know, it just don't work that way. You know what I mean? If you want to be in the leagues with the big boys, so to speak, and big girls. Yeah, so that's kind of, you know, where I'm at with it. And that's, you know, us. Anything I'm forgetting, fellas?
Well, I mean, like he said, we on all platforms, but we try to give you guys a visual and audio. So we on YouTube as well, DSC_podcast, where you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We have on our Facebook, sometimes we do like a live feed where we actually put topics out that people want us to discuss. We just sit down, we go live. And when we go live, it is literally live. It's unscripted. We take questions. We let people come on. And we just want to interact with our population and our public that kind of get people going. Cash is always into executing things. So I'm pretty sure he's actually, I know you were talking about eventually you were going to start producing some things on the side. I don't know if you were still going to do that, but I'm kind of putting your foot to the fire right now. I know Prez always got something going on. If any of our football fans out there, we got some football fantasy. We got a lot of stuff going, but don't worry. You got to get it all right now. You just come on down to DSC_podcast. And if you ain't motivated about it, at Hudrico Live, I got you. Come holler at me. You need a life coach? Hudrico Live, I got you on that too. Whatever you need. This is a one-stop shop. It's like the flea market of good stuff. And Miami flea markets are real. They give you anything you want at the flea market. Don't
right.
downplay it. They don't see Danielle. They don't know nothing about that. You got to help them.
I know. Well, with that being said, you guys need to watch out because I'm very good at fantasy. But anyways.
Wait a minute.
Okay. Watch out now. But I really appreciate you guys coming on here, speaking to our audience about leadership, about mindset, about adversity, about misconceptions, about Europe and the Air Force. Like, you guys talked about a lot of things, and I really appreciate you guys on here because you spoke so much value throughout this time that we've had together. So I really appreciate you all. And if anybody wants to give one last word before we sign off, I'll leave the floor to you guys.
Oh no, we totally appreciate you coming on. The last time you came on our podcast, it was very well received. You were very well prepared, and it's probably one of our top 3, all in our top 3 podcasts so far. And we have 64 standard episodes, or probably 80 to 90 total. So that's saying a lot. So we really do appreciate the words that you came through and bestowed upon us, so to speak.
Thank you so much.
And we also want to say thank you for taking the time to put us on your podcast as well. I know you don't necessarily bring on 3 guests or to bring on 3 big personalities like that. Is just phenomenal and just shows the range that you have and shows how much you've grown. So we went back and listened to how you started, and we want to commend you on the growth you've made as a podcaster yourself. Headstrong is going strong. So big ups to you as well. So proud of you and all that good stuff. Continued success, sis.
For sure.
Thank you so much.
And I just want to throw out there, reading your book as well. So like I said, I'm getting ready for that next step. So trying to get the LinkedIn on point. So thank you for all the pointers that you gave in that book as well. So.
Oh, thank you guys. I love this so much. But Appreciate you guys again. And with that being said, we're going to sign off, but you guys that are listening can go ahead and check in and follow these guys. I'm going to leave all their stuff in the message so that they can go ahead and find. So thank you guys again. Until next time. Bye guys.
All right. Later.
Peace.
All right.